Hello people of the internet, welcome to Paint to Life. It's been a while, my friends. This past month I've been busy doing some collaboration work with other YouTubers and recently submitted my first miniature in a local miniature painting contest. More on those at the end of the video. Tonight's episode is a first for this channel. I'm fabricating the entire model and diorama from scratch. I've 3D printed the models, accessories, and built the base from XPS foam out of nothing. I'm GMA Tank. Let's get printing and painting. Alright, one of my more popular Paint to Life episodes, as voted by the viewers, was Ariadne the Fertile from episode 25. She was a Nolzur's Marvelous miniature giant spider. I believe many of my viewers have a fear of spiders, so I've decided to print and paint a remarkably terrifying spider from Lord of the Print. Now that it's assembled and primed, it's time to come up with a story for this big-ass spider while I paint it to life. Now, as everyone familiar with role-playing games like D&D knows, in every fantasy setting, there are quests, both big and small, for heroes to undertake, from simple things such as clearing the rats out of a tavern cellar, to more traversal chores like delivering a package to a neighboring town. And of course, there are the legendary quests given by entire nations looking for adventurers to slay a rampaging Tarrasque. There was once a notoriously picky band of adventurers known as the Grim Bellows. A foursome of mysterious identities, hooded in cloaks of red and burgundy, masters of both martial weapons and the arcane magic weave. They were quite effective at what they did, if the price was right. The effective reputation of the Grim Bellows was sullied by their business practices and attitude towards the people they were meant to be helping. I mean, some examples include laughing at a woman in Daggerford whose young child had gone missing when she only offered them a home-cooked meal and 10 silver coins, and though it was all she had in the world to offer. Taking on a job in Thornhold to rescue 6 villagers captured by a band of orcs, but after collecting a mere 15 gold from the whole town, they only returned with 3, leaving the others to their fates. And finally in Luskan, taking the fishing boat from a poor fisherman as payment for worthless wilderness herbs they had collected in their overland travels, needed to cure his wife's wasting disease, and then breaking that boat down for simple firewood. They were a clever lot, but crooks through and through. The leader of the Grim Bellows was a female human fighting woman, known amongst her party as Hearts, and fighting alongside her were 3 men, diamonds, spades, and clubs. Very clever indeed. Now, the Grim Bellows were in the city of Mirabar, reviewing a notice board with contracts, looking for an adventuring party. A particular one was of interest. A small mine, run by humans, which was rare this far north, where there were many dwarven citadels holding territory. They sought out the mine foreman, who was desperate to get this issue resolved. Many of his miners had seen giant spiders as big as dogs, and they refused to go back into the mine until they had been cleared out. It had been months. Really? Giant spiders? This task was so trivial, the Grim Bellows could have done it in their underwear, and the pay was 100 gold, which was a lot of money for novice adventurers, but it paled in comparison with what the Grim Bellows were thinking. You see, the mine was one of the largest producers of arcane crystals in the Northern Hemisphere, and it was now sitting empty, but for some spiders? So Hearts, Diamonds, Clubs, and Spades greedily accepted the contract, and proceeded to prepare for a very detailed plan of attack. How many entrances were there to the mine? Were there any living quarters, any locked doors or traps? Where was the foreman's office so they could be extra sure it was the safest of all? Like children at Christmas, the party departed Mirabar with all the intelligence they would need to get access to potentially tens of thousands of gold worth of arcane crystals, which would be free for their plundering. Spiders be damned. A 10-day later, the quartet arrived at the peaceful entrance of the mine. Beyond the entryway was a locked gate, as expected. The brass key they had been given thunked, and in they went. The upper levels of the mine were not interesting, and Hearts led the group towards the lift that would take them down, deeper into the mine. Along the way, they passed many hundreds of pockets of small spiders about the size of your hand. Spades offered to simply destroy them as they proceeded with fire spells, but Hearts said they posed no danger to the group whatsoever. Near the top of the lift, the group encountered a very large and menacing female spider with some smaller consorts. Clubs suggested they should kill the beast right in its tracks, but Hearts did not want any delay. There was no bothering engaging the smiter and its smaller brethren, as they were no match for the Grim Bellows. All 4 boarded the lift and descended, causing all kinds of racket, breaking the deafening silence that surrounded them. They arrived in a deep cavern, with a radiant purple glow. As they walked through the passages, various clusters of arcane crystals emerged from the stone. Diamonds appraised their value at easily 2,000 gold, and suggested they harvest them and take their leave, as hundreds of tiny, small, and medium-sized spiders had followed them, curiously, cautiously, down the shaft into the pit. Hearts wouldn't hear it. She figured those remain untouched due to their difficulty to mine, and even if they were just decorative and easy to pry out, they were just a taste of what lay in wait further up the tunnels. According to their intelligence gathered, just ahead was a cavern which led to the storeroom. As they entered the cave, their torchlight shimmered back to them, reflecting off of hundreds of football-sized eggs, dripping with a green slime and pulsing golden yellow center. Their entourage of spiders following them dispersed outwards in the cavern, and the sound of legs on stone, splooshes in slime and watery pools, and hairy spider abdomens brushing against one another was getting outright loud. Diamonds, clubs, and spades all protested in alarm, but Hearts identified the storage cave ahead and raced forward, leading her partners in a sprint for the double iron door that split the two caverns. Once over the threshold, they shut the doors behind them. There were purple arcane crystals stacked in neatly labeled bundles, more than they could count or carry for that matter. Any concerns the group had were long gone as they greedily loaded up their backpacks. Not one of them perceived the big-ass spider descending from the ceiling until it landed with a tremor. A body with legs 25 feet across, covered with a chitinous shell-like coating, with thorny joints, fearsome piercing front limbs, and a dangerous acidic spittle. Hearts realized the danger, but she knew that this foe was not beyond their capabilities. As they prepared for battle, the beast revealed yet another one of its traits, intelligence, as it thrust its massive armored abdomen into the large door, shattering into pieces and leaving behind a gaping hole from where the spider horde began to pour into the combat, much to the horror of the Grim Bellows. Let's see how they did against the big-ass spider. Alright, here is the big-ass spider for the shelf. This story is loosely based on a real-world D&D group I had who, despite being totally overpowered for the small challenges they faced, just completely underestimated the dangers and threat of numbers. The creating, assembling, and painting video that ran up here will be available soon on the channel if you're interested in how I created the big-ass spider. Also, I mentioned some collaborations. I had done some 3D printing for Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles, which you can check out here if you're into reptiles. Also, Troy from Facility D20 asked me to narrate a section of his amazing Cthulhu build with resin. Go over to the facility and check out that episode also when you have some time. Finally, I've entered my first miniature painting contest. It's Avacyn from the WizKids Magic the Gathering set. So if you're from the Niagara region, you can go on down to Phoenix Rising and vote on it before the end of April if you'd like to support me. That's all I have for you this week. Thanks for watching. Wash your hands, people. A 10-day later, the quartet, right.